taxes. There's no excuse. You've been loosed.
This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on this podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Listen, we're going to continue on this amazing journey. I am having so much fun here. Thank you for continuing to come, your support, your love, your prayers. We are learning together, flowing together as one. That's what we're doing as we are learning a lot of things about our nation. We're going to continue to pray for our fellow Americans, the ones who were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. Last year, 78% of working Americans. We're believing things are going to turn around. These good jobs are coming. These companies are locating here. It's a lot of good stuff going to happen. We got to keep praying, keep the faith. We had an election. We have a new president. We have a new cabinet. That amazing cabinet. I was so blessed when I heard them pray in their first meeting. It was refreshing. We have a new president, a new cabinet, a GOP trifecta. We have hope, and we're going somewhere, and it's expecting us when we get there. Tonight, we're going to look at some things together and dissect some things as we do together here, from destruction to dignity. We look at patterns that are going on that can be destructive, and then we want to take us we want our nation to continue to go towards dignity, and then we always give a clinical perspective on those things, and we are always going to touch upon some spiritual truths that all mesh together to provoke thought. You know, why am I doing this? To provoke thought, bring awareness, and point us together in love as we support each other towards intervention. And you know what? Sometimes intervention is prayer. Sometimes intervention is, how you doing? Yeah, just recognizing somebody. That's what I am. Anybody knows me, that's how I'm. It's like, hey, how y'all doing? Oh yeah, I'm going to love. You're going to say, I really enjoyed being with her, because I'm going to honor you, recognize you. But you know what I won't do? I won't stay around and be abused. End of story. But I'll give you an opportunity to get it right. Oh yeah. So we're going to keep looking at our nation. And there's a lot going on in our nation regarding our government. So much is coming out. Excuse me. And it's going to continue to come out. And it's going to be pretty thick, because we just seeing the tip of the iceberg. Oh, yeah, we are, just the tip. So are we getting scandal-free? Scandal-free. I remember when Barack Hussein Obama said, my administration has been scandal-free. Huh? Stick with me. And he was involved with the Biden-Harris flow. So are we getting, at this point, are we scandal-free or staying corrupt to the core? Are we getting scandal-free or staying corrupt to the core? From a clinical perspective, we're going to look at overcoming corruption. I have had many interactions with my fellow Americans and my brothers and sisters, and they try to convince me that the previous administrations were scandal-free. I insist that simply is not the case. We're going to look at the dynamics of rooting out corruption at the core of our nation. And is it even possible? As stated by President Trump, over the past 4 years, the Department of Justice had been politicized like never before. I mean, when you go back further than 4 years ago, we should never forget the serial abuse of the secret FISA process surrounding the 2016 election. High-ranking officials and other major players in those agencies which Obama oversaw were increasingly embarrassingly embroiled in a growing scandal that was continuously swept under the rug. Oh, yeah, it was. Remember James Comey? He's sweating bullets right now. Yeah, he is. Because he's got to answer some questions. Remember Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, Andrew Wiseman, Peter Storzak, Lisa Page, Bruce Orr. Remember those people? Remember the Russian hoax that they spent millions and millions of our taxpayer dollars on, only to be told there was no Russian hoax. Who started that lie? They wasted millions and millions of our taxpayer dollars. You see what I'm saying? The only way that we can have any type of healthiness in government is to root out a system that has been embedded with corruption, fraud, and protection of bad players against prosecution. All along while they were trying to persecute Donald Trump. And they say, he's a felon. He's a felon. He's the victim of orchestrated lawfare. And that woman they're talking about that he's a rapist. He did it. That purportedly happened in 1996. So almost 30 years later, huh? Same old mess came out with Herman Cain. He passed away of COVID that was perpetrated upon us. Good God Almighty. Anyway, all of a sudden, some woman comes up, and then they go into the wild blue yonder after they have done their diabolical, evil, twisting lies, and then they disappear. They've been paid off. But God, Trump was the only one. He was tough enough and he was rich enough that he could pay pay for his legal battles and take a butt kicking. The man is tough. My respect for him is amazing, because I know by discernment and through the Spirit what's going on. I've seen them at the table and what they were planning. Oh, yeah. And it came to pass. The half has not been told regarding what these people have done behind the scenes. The actions and evidence related to the DOJ, IRS, FBI, and CIA has been gone unchecked for far too long. Subsequent to Obama's election as president, former Secretary of State and National Security Advisor under President Nixon, Henry Kissinger, stated that Obama was primed to create a new world order. What did that mean? Well, he signed us up for Agenda 2030. According to Mr. Kissinger, Mr. Obama's task would be to develop an overall strategy for America in which a new world order could be created. Oh, thanks for telling us. Thanks for letting us know. What did that mean? As we reflect back on what developed under the Obama administration, it leaves Americans with much to ponder. A few days before the 2008 presidential election, he said something at a speech at the University of Missouri. He said, "We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America." Remember that? When he said it, it went all through my whole being. That's a powerful statement, one that would embark our nation on a journey that we'd never been on before, and we're still experiencing it now. I made a commitment right then that if he would if Obama would do the right thing for America, I would be one of his most vocal supporters. But of that new world order, what was that going to look like? I remember saying, what's that going to look like? As evidenced by what? In his first major speech abroad, why am I talking about Obama? Because he's been involved all along. In his first major speech abroad as president, he addressed the Muslim world in Turkey with a surprising declaration. One of the great strengths of the United States, he said, was that we don't even consider ourselves a Christian nation or a Jewish nation or a Muslim nation. Now wait a minute. I know many of us were shocked at that statement. In hindsight, is it possible that Mr. Obama made that announcement in Turkey because he was in a location in which he chose to send a clear message? If so, what message was it? Was it meant to unite or to divide? Then there was the hacking scandal. Okay, he said, well, I've just had a scandal-free administration. Hacking. The biggest data breach in the federal government's history happened under him. Once discovered, the Office of Personnel Management, OPM, the director of that, her name was Catherine Archuleta, that was her name. She stated that the personnel files of 4 million Americans had been exposed. However, further investigation revealed that hackers had stolen the sensitive data of over 21 million Americans in a devastating cyber breach. She stated, and she was also his former political director, she resigned the next day. Ongoing reports show that she had been warned repeatedly about security deficiencies, but she didn't take any steps to address the issues. The hacking, see, Trump is making steps. He's putting a stop to it, freezing it, finding out what's going on. The hacking involved the theft of millions of federal employees' records, which included security clearance details going back 15 years. Why'd they need that? Unfortunately, there was more. The Veterans Affairs scandal. It's truly a human atrocity which affected many fine veterans who served our country. See, I mean, I had people to my making posts. Obama, he was totally a scandal and had his let's celebrate the first family. The first black family, and they were totally scandal free. Let's flood social media with this. And I'm saying, excuse me, I really wish this was true. I wish this was true. This was just since Trump has been inaugurated. During Black History Month, we need to celebrate that family. It was the only scandal free administration we ever had. Wow. Let's keep talking. At least 40 U.S. veterans died waiting for appointments at a Phoenix VA facility. It was later revealed that some of the veterans had been on a secret waiting list. This was part of an effort to conceal the fact that between 1,400 and 1,600 veterans were forced to wait months for appointments. And when Trump won in 2016, he made it such that they will not wait. They can go to private healthcare providers. That stuff came to a halting, screeching stop. So between 1,400 and 1,600 veterans were forced to wait months for appointments and this came out during a VA audit conducted in 2014, where it revealed that 57,436 newly enrolled veterans were facing a minimum of 90-day wait for medical care. 63,869 veterans enrolled over the past decade were requesting appointments that never happened. Although Obama admitted in a November 2016 press conference, he said, it was a little scandalous what happened, but he boasted that he would leave his office without significant scandal. What do you mean? Let's continue. He continues to make this claim he continued over and over, despite the facts that prove otherwise. So do his supporters. I deal with them all the time. They think he's the best thing since sliced bread, but everything they couch it in are things that are not true. Prior to leaving office, Obama touted that his administration was one of the most law-abiding and ethical in history. Even more disappointing is Obama's behavior subsequent to leaving the White House. I have never seen anything like it before. I've seen a predecessor who once occupied the Oval Office. What he did, he bashed, and he was very disrespectful. Following his exit, well, he moved a mile down the road. Yeah, he moved one mile down the road from the White House. But he made a speech in Africa in July of 2018. Trump was well into figuring things out, trying to make the country better. And Obama was in Africa. And he made a speech in which he referred to President Trump, and he stated that America now has politics of fear, resentment, retrenchment, and decrying leaders who are caught lying and just double down and lie some more. As I listened to this former president call Donald John Trump a liar, he kept telling me he's a liar, he's a liar. I could not help but remember the following statements made by the former occupant of the White House, in which he was caught lying and then doubled down to lie some more. Now, he said, I will have the most transparent administration in history. And his plans continued under Biden Harris. He said the stimulus will find shovel-ready jobs. And where did they appear? That stimulus money went to Solyndra, Electra. It went to all these green companies, and they went bankrupt and walked away with padded pockets and got over on us like a fat rat. True story. He says, I'm focused like a laser on creating jobs. Those shovel-ready jobs, where were they? There was a 58.2% increase of Black Americans on food stamps and a 9% decrease of Black Americans owning homes under the Obama administration. Go look it up. That's the Department of Agriculture. That's not Janice's opinion. That data came from the Department of Agriculture. The IRS is not targeting anyone, he said. He said, I don't have any scandals. He said, that was just a spontaneous riot that happened. It was about a movie. He said, I will put an end to the type of politics that breeds division, conflict, and cynicism. He said, y'all didn't even build that. He says, I will restore trust in government. You'll be able to go on C-SPAN, and any bill that's going to come up, you'll be able to read it before it's even voted on. It never happened. He said the Cambridge cops just acted stupidly. That's what was going on there. That was a dynamic there. He said the public will have 5 days to, about the C-SPAN, you're going to have 5 days to look at every bill that's going to land on my desk. Never happened. He said, it's not my red line, it's the world's red line. It was a lie. Whistleblowers will be protected in my administration. He said, we got back every dime that we used to rescue the banks and the auto companies with interest. When? He says, I'm not spying on any American citizens, bona fide lie. He said, Obamacare will be good for America, as evidenced by what? He said, we can keep your family doctors, could we? He said premiums will be lowered by $2,500. Are you kidding me? People's premiums, they skyrocketed. They couldn't afford insurance. And then he wanted to penalize people that didn't get Obamacare. Oh my goodness. He says, if you like it, you can keep your current health care plan, could we? But then we had to pay so much more money. He said, it's just going to be just like shopping at Amazon. We got on that Obamacare website, that thing kept crashing. People couldn't even figure it out. He said, listen, I knew nothing about Fast and Furious gun running to the Mexican drug cartels. Did he? He lied. I knew nothing about the IRS targeting conservative groups. Do you know conservative groups, they couldn't figure out why they could not get clearance for their 501c3s. Come to find out, they had been piled up and they were purposefully denied. True story. He says, I knew nothing about what happened in Benghazi. Bona fide lie. Chris Stevens, they had begged for extra protection. And Hillary, she got to the point of, she said, what does it matter anyway? It mattered a lot. We lost them. He said, if elected, I promise not to renew the Patriot Act, did he? If elected, I will end the war in Iraq and Afghanistan within the first 9 months of my term. I will close Guantanamo within the first 6 months of my term. I'm just telling you what he told me, what he told us. I will bridge the gap between black and white and between America and other countries. I got to stop there. Listen, I went through Jim Crow. My great-grandmother was born a slave. I went through all that diet. We had slavery, sharecropping. Daddy was a sharecropper born on a plantation. We had Jim Crow. I went through all that. It was crazy, nuts, KKK everywhere. I was terrified, traumatized all the time, scared all the time. Went through that. Then we got through the 60s that was riddled by assassinations. John Kennedy, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, I remember all this, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, over and over perpetrated chaos. And do you see what's come out with JFK files? When I was a 10-year-old girl, JFK got killed when I was 6. I was in the first grade. I remember when it happened. When I was 8 years old, God started speaking to my heart. Things. I was, well, how do I know that? And then it would come true. When I was 10 years old, he told me that LBJ was right smack in the middle of what happened with John Kennedy. Go read the papers. Go read it. I knew when I was 10 years old what happened. To God be the glory. So this is when God started tugging on my heart about the word and knowing how to deliver it, how to pray it. Just, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I love it. And I saw us heal as a nation. Black and white coming together. We had come so far, so far. And I'm telling you what, when Obama got in there, and when I heard Michelle, and she was so mad about this country, God said she's getting ready to tear this thing up. And she would always talk about the white men over here and the this over that. It was all division, racial division. It was like we had been set back 40 years. Anybody was paying attention, you know what I'm talking about. But you had to have understood what went on before to understand where they took us again. It was crazy. Oh, yeah. Then the Trayvon Martin thing happened. And that man, he was on the ground, on his back, with Trayvon Martin. He was on Neighborhood Watch, which you rotate that. And he was questioning him, and it escalated, got out of control. And was it self-defense? Trayvon Martin was slamming his head on the concrete. But he said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. We had such an escalation of our police being ambushed. Go back and type it in. Under his administration, what happened with our police department? I'll tell you what did happen with our police department. He refused to light up the White House with blue to honor them, but he lit it up with all those rainbow colors. The biggest one of all, he said, I, Barack Hussein Obama, pledge to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. As I share these things, I know that there are many black Americans who do not believe that Barack Hussein Obama, who was called the first black president did anything to help the black community. I heard him talk to those folk in Chicago. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact, which we need to be willing to be honest about. Intellectually honest. His policies also did. Why am I talking about it? Because it affected what we went through for 4 years. And this is what Trump walked into. Oh, yeah. Did Obama's policies help the average American citizen? Did Biden-Harris policies help the average American citizen? In fact, he did not help the people of his own district in Chicago during his presidency, or even now after the building of the Obama Presidential Center. Go type that in. Interviews with Chicago area residents reveal mixed feelings over the center, which was touted as able to bring in revenue and assistance to the community, but not all the residents are buying it. It has been going on a long time. It's just come to the point that as a result of our voter power, it was our voter power, guys, that something is finally being done to root out all of this toxic weaponization that has gone on for far too long. We, the people, spoke, and we finally have leadership that is responsibly taking action to run the nation above board and effectively. President Trump's instructions of the termination of all remaining Biden-era U.S. attorneys is bona fide wisdom. Some of them were left over from Obama's administration. They can't be trusted. I totally agree with President Trump when he said, we must clean house immediately and restore confidence. America's golden age must have a fair justice system that begins today. And he said that the day he was inaugurated and came out the gate running. All of these dynamics connects with presentations that we've had to deal with in our nation that boils down to corruption. Corruption, flat out corruption. From a clinical perspective, let's examine the dynamics involved in corruption. What is corruption? Corruption is a form of dishonesty or a criminal offense that is undertaken by a person or an organization that is entrusted in a position of authority to acquire illicit benefits or abuse power for what? Their own gain. Hello? Look at what's coming out with Doge. What are some examples of corruption? In systemic corruption and grand corruption, multiple methods of corruption are used concurrently with similar aims: bribery, embezzlement, theft and fraud, extortion, blackmail, influence peddling, network for nefarious reasons, abuse of discretion. Guys, we've been inundated with corruption. How do we overcome it? Where do we start? Expose corrupt activities. And this is why they have reporting agencies. This is why they have whistleblower programs. Oh, yeah. Keep the public sector honest, transparent, and accountable. Stop dishonest practices. We have been subjected to dishonest practices so long that we didn't even know what was whopping us upside the head. It wouldn't even have come out if Kamala Harris had won. God had mercy on us. Yeah, he did. We were paying for illegal criminals who were guilty of homicide and kidnapping. We were paying for them while we were struggling and could barely make ends meet. Ensure public sector employees act in the public interest. How can we stop corruption from spreading? Is it possible? An oversight system could therefore it could be put in place to help detect corruption early and prevent it from spreading. It could also be noted that punishing every act of corruption would serve as an effective deterrent. Got to have deterrents to discourage corrupt actors and their cronies from continuing their practices. They got away with, as they said, bloody murder. They got away with so much. How can corruption be rooted out? Governments should make information on budgets, government contracts, and resource allocations public. Why? In order to prevent fraud and corruption from taking root. An oversight system could, this is what DOGE is about, guys. We need it. An oversight system could therefore be put in place to help detect corruption early and prevent it from spreading. What have we looked at tonight? What we've been talking about? Scandal. Are we scandal free or corrupt to the core? And from a clinical perspective, how to overcome corruption. Guys, this country's been in a diabolical mess. It's been going on a long time, but there's a new sheriff in town. His name is Donald John Trump. He has a cabinet and they pray. They ask for leadership and they ask for guidance. I pray for him every day. We pray the 91st Psalm. We pray the Ephesians prayer in Ephesians chapter 1, Ephesians chapter 3. The Colossians prayer in, if you type it in, Google it, the Colossians prayer in Colossians chapter 1, we've got to cover that man with prayer. There's a lot been going on that has gone unchecked. But there's a new sheriff in town. And we're one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to talk about what's going on because there are things that had us in a destructive pattern. This corruption thing, it was destruction. But we want to go from destruction to dignity. How do you handle it? There's a path to dignity. Yeah. And then there are clinical perspectives that affect our mental health, our wellness, our soul, our mind, our will, our emotions, our intellect, our drive, our desires. Our country, God is not done with America. You know why? We're still here. And we're going somewhere. And it's expecting us when we get there. Please keep coming back. Thank you for sharing the podcast in these venues out there where podcasts are. My God, thank you for the growth of the podcast. 1,200% last year. And it's continuing to grow. I'm getting comments, feedback, phone calls. There's a lot going on. Thank you for praying for me. I'm praying for you. Listen, I love you. God bless you. Yes. I'll see you next week. Listen, keep coming back. We're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. We want to provoke thought. We're going to keep bringing awareness. And we're going to pray together. That's an intervention. We're going to do other things together that are interventions in our great nation because it's going to be powerful. God bless you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation,